Welcome to Hannity. We're going to break a lot of news tonight. We have the whole declassification issue we have not addressed yet. Now, we tell you every night on this program, we are so blessed. We live in the greatest, single best country God ever gave man. Never in the history of mankind, a good friend of mine, Barry Farber's always said, has a country acquired more power and abused it less than our country, the United States. And also, never has a country used its awesome powers and resources for the advancement of the human condition, not only our citizens, but around the globe. We will be the first to say we are not perfect. Human beings are not perfect. But what makes this country so special, so great, so unique, it starts with our founding documents, our Declaration, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, the explicit understanding human rights, they're not government given, but endowed by our Creator, and inalienable rights for every American: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Ronald Reagan often reminded us and pointed out many decades ago, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. Now, from World War II, where my father served 4 years in the Pacific, to the rise of communism, to the fight against radical Islamic terrorism right here on American soil and abroad, the American people, we are a good people. We have always fought to protect these freedoms against those that would destroy our way of life. And many, in and out of uniform, have fought bravely, given the ultimate sacrifice, defending against threats abroad. It is so critically important that we now, in this tipping point moment in history, that we hold our government accountable, that we prevent the erosion of these hard-fought, all the blood and toil and sacrifice and expense for our freedoms within this country. If we don't get this right and protect these principles, America as we know it will cease to exist. And that's why, frankly, we have been spending so much time and sounding the alarm about the corrupt, high-ranking, not rank-and-file bureaucrats in the deep state, in the intel community, in the FBI, Department of Justice, and elsewhere. Those that try to subvert the will of we, the people, using the awesome powers that we give them to protect us to literally, in some instances, clear Hillary Clinton of blatant crimes to impact a presidential election, and then try to impact that election using Russian lies. And then at the end of it, using Russian paid-for lies by Hillary to take down a duly elected president, Donald Trump. Pack of lies. Now, tonight, all roads are leading to the dossier. You know the names: Comey, Strzok, Page, Clapper, Brennan, all these other deep state actors. They've hated Donald Trump and many others. They have latched on to Hillary's dirty Russian dossier and used the phony document in a variety of nefarious ways. Even the New York Times suggesting, it might have been Russian disinformation the whole time that she paid for. Now, Comey, we know, obtained a FISA warrant. He signed warrant number 1. That was October 2016, claiming, says at the top of the FISA application, verified and true. He claimed that it was true and accurate. Brennan, Clapper were proliferating the dossier's lies throughout the government, leaks to the media, leaks to Harry Reid, Strzok and Page plotting to use the dossier as an insurance policy just in case the loathsome Donald Trump, who should lose $100 million to zero, would ever become president. Over the weekend, very serious Congresswoman Liz Cheney really said something that this could be treason on their part. Let's listen to what she said.
Strzok and Page, who were in charge of launching this investigation, and they were saying things like, we must stop this president. We need an insurance policy against this president. That, in my view, when you have people that are in the highest echelons of the law enforcement of this nation saying things like that, that sounds an awful lot like a coup, and it could well be treason. And I think that we need to know more. We need to know what was Jim Comey's role in all of this. These people reported to him. Andy McCabe reported to him. What was Comey's role in that?
It is now inevitable. It's not a matter of if, it is when. We will all know about these extreme, steps, the power abuse, these high-ranking bureaucrats, what they did to malign candidate, then President-elect, then President Donald Trump. Now, late last week, the president rightly granted Attorney General Barr the power to declassify material related to this ongoing investigation into the origins of this Russia witch hunt. 4 separate occasions. The FBI 9-month investigation, the House Intel Committee investigation, the bipartisan Senate committee, and now the Mueller report. No collusion. American people now will see the truth with your own eyes, and it's not looking good for these few at the top that abuse their power. Now, by the way, it's not if, it's when. We're going to see it. Then the question will be, who needs to be held accountable? And you don't have to take my word for it. The swamp is in full panic mode. Today, America's most holier-than-thou super patriot, Jim Comey, knows better than everybody, issued yet another op-ed calling Trump a dumb liar, and that any talk of government corruption is, quote, the worst deep state conspiracy ever. Now, for some reason, super patriot Jim Comey forgot to mention the dirty Hillary Clinton bought and paid for Russian lie dossier, even though it was him. He was the guiding light for nearly a year and the very basis for the corruption accusations. And now, remember, he faces the fact that he swore to FISA court judges that it was a verified, the bulk of information in that FISA application was true. Now, of course, Comey's rampant FISA abuse, that's not a conspiracy theory. And Jim Comey, I've warned you before, you do have the right to remain silent. You should have taken my advice from the get-go. Sadly, I think your rage for President Trump and intense love of the spotlight is really overcoming every bit of common sense you might have. Comey desperately now trying to shape the narrative. So, too, Clapper and Brennan. Absolutely tear and terror inside the hearts and minds of all of these people, because the Attorney General will show the American people what they were up to. The anxiety is palpable. Tonight, the deep state is in full panic mode. They're even digging bigger holes every single time they open their mouths. Frankly, sad to watch, but important that we get right. Take a look.
I see it as a very, very serious and outrageous move on the part of Mr. Trump, once again, trampling upon the statutory authorities of the Director of National Intelligence and the heads of the independent intelligence agencies. And I know that my former colleagues in the intelligence agencies are looking upon this with great concern and worry.
I wonder what else is going to be declassified that risk jeopardizing sources and methods.
Nobody would risk sources and methods. For them, by the way, self-preservation at this moment is now the key of the day, always more important than preservation of civil liberties and our Constitution, rule of law. Same goes for the Intel chairman, well-known liar, the cowardly Adam Schiff. Called Barr's investigation a quest for transparency, called it un-American. The same Schiff tweeted this in December of 2016. President Obama can and must declassify as much as possible about Russian hacking our elections. Rest assured, Trump won't. And the cowardly Schiff, I've offered him 4 hours of airtime, 3 hours on my radio show, 1 hour here. Why won't he come on? Now, we have every single lie he has told you, we, the American people. He's a liar. He's a conspiracy theorist. And the worst part is we now know he's lying. A partisan hack through and through. And we have a lying partisan hack in charge of the House Intelligence Committee. That's scary. But rest assured, Barr is not going to release sources and methods or highly classified intelligence. And let's not forget, those that are now saying, oh, we can't release this, are the same people that were asking the Attorney General of the United States, Barr, to break the law and release the Mueller report with grand jury testimony included. That's called selective moral outrage. Now, we're about to see important evidence surrounding the biggest abuse of power, corruption scandal. It's set. The president declassified. It will come out. We will learn the extent of the government spying efforts into the Trump campaign. Also breaking tonight, former Trump campaign associate Carter Page just revealed that his contacts with the FBI informant, Stefan Halper, were extensive and continued for more than a year, spanning a time period before and after the 2016 election. That's right, spying occurred. James Comey says, I didn't spy, but he signed the first FISA warrant. We're going to find out how and why Hillary Clinton's phony Russian dossier that she paid for, they never told the FISA court judges that she paid for it, was used against the president and his allies. We also learn about media leaks, rampant bias, and just whose inalienable rights were trampled on. And as President Trump pointed out, we could well uncover the role of some of our closest allies. I would argue probably Great Britain, probably Australia, probably Italy. But I'm just guessing. What do I know? Take a look.
The Attorney General is one of the most respected people in this country, and he has been for a long period of time. He's going to look at a lot of documents. Some he might find interesting, maybe he'll find none interesting. But for over a year, people have asked me to declassify. So what I've done is I've declassified everything. He can look, and I hope he looks at the UK, and I hope he looks at Australia, and I hope he looks at Ukraine. I hope he looks at everything, because there was a hoax that was perpetrated on our country.
Perpetrated on the country. And as per usual, getting to the truth is not going to happen without a fight. This is now an important mission for all of us as Americans to preserve, protect our constitutional rights and liberties. Look at the dossier author, Christopher Steele. Oh, he's refusing to cooperate with Barr's investigation? Well, why don't we extradite him? Why don't we tell Britain to send him over? It's pretty telling that given 3 years ago, Steele was desperate to talk to anybody and everybody in our government about his Russian lies. And according to a big new report, Sarah Carter, investigative reporter and journalist, AG Barr is also facing resistance from this country's intel agencies. According to Carter, quote, this isn't just about Trump. It's about nearly a decade of abuse inside the intel community and bureau regarding Foreign Intelligence Collection Authority. By the way, this is my FBI flag pen. This is my CIA pen. That's for rank and file that love their country and protect us every day, not the upper echelon 0.2%.